セガサターンシロ
How's it going, everybody? Happy Friday, Shiro Show.
Welcome on into the Shiro Show, everyone.
Am I a robot?
No, not
good.
Not yet.
Okay.
You sound good to begin the show.
Let me know when I get taken over by AI and everything.
Yeah.
The whole world
We'll
goes
let you
to
know.
hell.
Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you hanging out with us on this Saturn Friday.
Yes, we've got Analog Black Sheep, Sega, Neil Henderson, Saturn, Wiener Bob, Shiro, Captain Auden Media Group. Wow, they're really on top of it there.
Nice.
We have got the triumph or the quadrumvirate or whatever you call it. You got or the quartet. Yeah, quartet. That's right.
Quartet, like the Master System.
You
game.
must play Sega Saturn. Christian Marte, Dragons of Saturn. Join this Discord. Subscribe. Oh my God, you guys are doing my job for me. Paul Bort is here. Pudgy Bunny, Slow Coin, Raiden, David Zaney. Who else is here? We got Tales of Saturn. Yo, what's up? Albert 25 AM 25. Hello. Moose Track is here. Tom Fum from the UK. We got Bo Bales. And that's everything. Dave has a job. I don't know. You tell me. Sometimes I feel like my job is a little abstract. It's mostly like schlepping the kids around everywhere to all of their sports and their.
I mean, that's an important job.
And their swim lessons and all. Yeah, no, that's an important
big job.
The actual healing time. No, I'm just trying to catch my breath. Like I am still. Yeah. I'm feeling better. I'm not sick anymore, but I'm just tired.
That's good.
I tested negative for COVID, but you wouldn't know it because like that sickness just kind of like wiped me out and made me really tired. So who knows?
Wow.
Maybe it just wasn't detectable by tests.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better now.
Yeah.
That's good.
Thanks.
Especially because if you were still down, I would have been doing this show solo, I guess, which I can't do because I'm not set up for it. Totally relied on you and Pat.
Oh, wow. You know what? That's true. I need to change. Yeah. I need to fix that. I need to send you all of the stuff. Robotica Dave.
Send me the keys to the kingdom. Install OBS. I would have to totally change my setup because usually I record in my dining room because there's really good lighting up above me and it has a lot of room for the green screen and everything. And I'm streaming with my iPhone. So if I did have to do this show solo or for some reason I had to be the one who was streaming and patching you guys through the Discord, I would have to set this up upstairs in my hot office in front of my actual gaming PC and fix a webcam on there. And so I could use like OBS and stuff. So that would be quite an experience.
Imagine that, being in a hot location. Meanwhile, I'm in this like really hot garage.
That's unfortunate. No, I'm in my wonderfully air-conditioned dining room down here right now.
That's wonderful.
I feel bad for you, Dave.
It's okay. I used to have a studio. Now it's my daughter's bedroom.
Yeah. Well,
but, it's okay.
Fatherly sacrifices.
Fatherly sacrifices. You do what you have to do, but you do what you can for Sega Saturn. But yeah,
True.
no. I mean, speaking of that, I've been working really hard on PRGE stuff, getting banner designs done, writing a panel.
It's coming up fast.
Sega's history of innovation. It's coming up super fast. Still got to get some RGB lighting and do a bunch of other cool stuff, and there's Amazon and
so, I was going to say, what was that beep? Was the trash truck going by?
I don't know, maybe it's gated on YouTube, but I'm sure you heard it. But PRGE is going to be a whole lot of fun this year. The Sega Lounge is going to be a little over 1,400 square feet of Sega. No Nintendo, no Sony.
Nice.
Just Sega. 90s kids delight.
Awesome.
Because it's going to be it's going to be awesome. And we're going to have content creators like Adam Koralik and John Hancock and maybe the Game Apologist. I'm not sure. G to the Next Level is going to be there. We're just going to have a big party and talk Sega and just have fun. We'll see what happens. But it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And when is that going to be? September 27th to 29th,
That's right. The last weekend of September. Used to be October, and they kind of bumped it up. Because this year, like I kind of had like a scheduling conflict that initially seemed like it was going to be a problem, but we figured it out. But yeah, it was honestly used to be kind of like mid-October, and then now they bumped it up to September. So gonna be a lot of fun. And it's gonna be a lot of work too. But at least we got like all hands on deck. Yeah, Steve is here in the comments. He's gonna be there. We're gonna be nice. Using a lot of his hardware too. Probably Kay, Kona, Murder of Crows. But we'll have all the Shiros there. We'll have Nick Pandemonium. We'll have Ben. We'll have Peter. Me, Pat. It's gonna be like a full house, stacked.
Yeah.
Stacked.
Well, you're
deck.
gonna need all those. You're gonna need all of you to run that room.
We are
1,400 square feet.
We really are. We're gonna need everybody on Thursday for setup, and then Friday morning too. I keep telling Pat, no edibles. I need you awake. I need you 100%.
And we don't have Pat again this week, by the way, because he is in Germany at Gamescom, and he's been helping to run the SHIRO booth, the Saturn booth, there with Momphis and Paul Bort, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I think Xenos is there too. So
Xenos
it's
is
cool.
there. He's
been posting photos and videos to our Discord all week.
Whoa. Okay. Maybe I can make this bigger. No. Okay. Didn't mean to do that.
This
video won't play. But anyway, you guys get the picture. It's
playing in a small box.
It's playing in a small box. There you go. So that's kind of where they're located on the floor. We had some other pictures here that works.
Yeah, that one makes it look very lonely.
That does make it look very lonely. That was just the first day when
it's
set up.
Just opening. Yeah. They're probably just opening up or whatever. So
I've learned not to. You're always excited to like take pictures as soon as you get set up, but then I've realized that before. Like every time I take pictures on the first day, it's like nobody's there. Somebody inevitably
looks lame.
Makes a comment about how Game On looks really small. Is that are not a lot of people there? I'm like, it's Thursday. You know?
Yeah. Need to put like a caption over it saying like, the people aren't here yet.
Right.
We've just set up.
Yeah. So, here's the ad for the Sega Lounge PRGE.
Nice.
So yeah, it's gonna be 1,450 square feet of Sega. It's gonna be awesome though. Cool. Yeah, so we're looking forward to it, and I really am looking forward to some more updates from Pat regarding some of the stuff that he's seen on the ground.
Yeah, he's done an interview or two, and walked around the show floor and met some Sega developers from back in the day, like one of the Virtual On designers, I think. So that's super cool. So, but I guess the Wi-Fi is a little spotty there, and also the sound is a big issue. Like a lot of his sound he's tried to record has just been like totally muffled by all the floor sound.
Well, yeah. Plus,
so he's got to like redub it.
You look at you look at the inside of this place, right? And it looks to me like a lot of like flat, hard surfaces, so
it's like echoing.
Lots of echo, probably. Yeah. Because there isn't a whole lot of... One thing I noticed in PRGE, they kind of like... They have a lot of scrims and a lot of like canvas or I don't know, like, black... They have a lot of partitions up across the floor, and it kind of like breaks up the noise a little bit. But yeah, like with these big rooms, it's just like all those voices add and kind of like reverberate. So yeah,
right.
We did get a set of DJI lavalier mics that are like Bluetooth.
Those like the clip-on ones.
Yeah, and they have like a little fluffy muffler on them. But it'll be interesting to see like how well those do. I don't know if he's using that right now or if he's just kind of going off of his phone. But sound is always an issue there. But I have a friend who has the DJI Labs, and he goes to like NAMM, the guitar expo, and that's also very loud in LA, and those labs work really good. So I'm hoping that'll be a game changer for us to be able to give people more content. That is my plan this year. If I don't get sick and I'm just like with it, I can help Nick out, and we can document as much of PRGE as possible so that folks aren't like, what's going on? Like, when do we get our updates?
Because that's a lot of fun to see stuff.
Absolutely.
At events, because not everybody can go. And hopefully Pat should have some cool stuff for us next week on the website that we can talk about on the show too.
Just for the record, I think you mentioned Paul Bort, but I think he works for like a hospital or something. So I don't think that he's there.
He's not.
No.
He said in chat.
It was Xenos Interactive. It was Xenos and Memphis that are
okay. It was
with
Xenos
him.
and Memphis.
And I know that he caught up with. what was it? The guys that made what in that picture that I was showing you, the dudes that made the what was the game that they were responsible for?
Virtual-On, wasn't it?
Virtual-On, that's right. Sega developers, and then he also caught up with John Linneman as well and Audi Sorley. So,
right.
Yeah. Oh, they also did like the arcade Initial D. In addition
yeah,
to
well,
some
because
stuff.
they've been working at Sega for 30, 40 years or whatever, and they just kept making arcade games all the time. So
absolutely, yeah. So that's a lot of fun. That's cool.
Did we want to save it for like another time, or talk about that Sega Saturn looking Gully Kit controller, the Elvis 2?
Did you write like an article?
No, I didn't write an article, but I asked Pat. I don't know if he was going to write a story about it or not, but I asked him to go over to their booth and ask the developers about it.
Right.
So I guess I'll give people like a little bit of a rundown. So Gully Kit made a new controller. They debuted a new version of their I think it's a wireless controller for like modern platforms for cell phones, the Switch for PC, and it's called the Elves 2. But the thing is that it looks like a Japanese Saturn controller, sort of. Like it's sort of shaped like one.
Like? It looks like Retrobit. It looks like Retrobit's controller.
Yeah.
Had a baby with who's the other, like 8-Bit Do. 8-Bit Do has those those Saturn kind of looking controllers, but they're very rounded. It's like that one and the Retrobit controller came together, and it kind of made this kind of like weird hybrid,
because it has like that Sega style rocker D-pad, which does look nice. They put a couple of Hall effect sensor analog sticks onto it. Looks nice. Then they have just kind of like the standard Xbox type ABXY buttons on the front. They didn't go 6-button, but they made them kind of like yellow, green, blue, gray, like a Japanese Saturn controller. And then they made the shoulder bumpers, I'm guessing, kind of pink, like the Japanese Saturn controller. So like it looks cool. I don't think it natively plays on a Saturn. Well, we actually had Pat asked them that, and they said that no, they wanted to redesign the Saturn controller and do a tribute to it. It's just a tribute product, and they didn't really give us specifics on what they did to update the controller yet. But it's a Bluetooth controller, so it can hook up to a real Saturn.
Yeah, using like the Blue Retro.
Blue Retro adapters, that sort of thing.
Well, then I can.
So
Yeah, I've got the Gretsch Tech. What was it? The Gretsch Tech. There's a little blue retro dongle that we got as like a test sample, and that works with the Saturn. It's got like the Saturn controller on there, so it'll be interesting to see to kind of try it out, because it's kind of
the analog sticks do.
Like, I guess it's a good thing that there are options, that folks have options. Some folks liked did this one have analog, by the way? Did it have dual analog, or was it just digital?
There's two analog sticks. They're Hall effect.
So, obviously.
On the Gully Kit.
Yeah, so I mean, that's really kind of a coincidence when you think about the fact that Retrobit used Gully Kit's sticks in theirs, and then like a year later, you get this. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they were like, hey, let's do this, but honestly, that's good. I mean, if it gives people more options, that's a good thing, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
And I guess it's fun that it looks like a Saturn controller.
It looks like a Saturn controller, yeah.
You want a Switch controller that looks like a Saturn controller, and you're going to play your Saturn Tribute City Connection games on there, and it fits the theme, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how well it works, and it'll be interesting to see, if there's any other, how it handles, analog games like Knights compared to Retrobit's controller. And I know Retrobit, they released a couple firmware updates, and it's gotten better, but I know that out the gate it was a little rocky. It'll just be interesting to see if if Gully Kit has kind of like learned anything from that experience. I've used my Gully Kit King Kong controller with the Saturn using the Blue Retro, and it works pretty good.
Oh yeah. I don't have any
Gully
Kit controllers, so I don't have any experience with them. No.
Yeah, I know Knight also got the replacement sticks for his Switch, the Gully Kit replacement sticks, and he said it was kind of a mixed bag. Like I think there were some good things and there were some negative things. Maybe the fit, I think, was, but I don't want to quote him on that because he'll probably correct me. But anyway, yeah. So there's options. We have options, and that's a good thing. So, what else have you been up to this past week before we get into news?
Well, I had my second match in the Saturn Netlink tournament for Duke Nukem 3D. Yeah. I played against Gregory Rasputin, and he beat me in three rounds. I can't beat him in any game because he kicked my ass twice in the previous tournament, which was a Puzzle Bobble 3. So congrats to him. Very well played. He's a good shot with that rocket launcher and with the shotgun. So yeah, I'm in the loser bracket now with that one. It's a double elimination tournament. And I guess we've had a couple of people drop out of the tournament. So if you didn't get in initially and you kind of wanted to, we haven't even finished the first round. You did?
I dropped out. I don't have. I just don't have the time. But Double Dime did say that I can come back in the losers bracket, and I said, that's fine as long as it's after September. I mean, I don't have the time right now to
well, I mean, I don't think we're getting to the second round till September because I guess the deadline on round one, getting your matches in, got extended to the end of August, so another week from now, because people were just having a hard time finding the time. So there you go.
as it is right now, I'm basically pushing all all the PRGE stuff. I'm pushing it back until the evening when the kids are in bed, and then I'm coming out to the garage and like burning the midnight oil to get that stuff done. So it's like during the day, I just don't even. It's a miracle that I make time for stuff like this. How's it going, Pat?
You guys hear me?
Yeah. What time is it there?
Pat.
We're live in Germany right now. It's 12 o'clock in the morning.
Like, oh, okay.
Wow. Okay. Good morning.
Nice.
Guten Morgen.
Party. I'm here with Memphis.
Hi guys, how are you?
How's it going, Memphis?
Hi. And we got a couple more people. What's your name? What's the name?
Ramon.
Yeah, we here with Ramon and
Hi, Stevie here.
Yep. So we got some cool Ramon, Stevie. We're rocking out. We're just at this party for this
nice.
What's it called? Rocket Bean?
Rocket Beans party.
Rocket Beans party. It's like an after party for the show.
This is a party.
Hanging out here.
Nice. You guys are live on SHIRO show right now. What do you have to say?
Well, just walked away to smoke a cigarette, so he's over there.
Okay.
How was Gamescom?
It's a lot of fun. It's I'm tired at the end. My legs are killing me, but it's a lot of fun. I'm partying with some cool people. What do you think?
Just had to wait 1 hour to get some beer, so yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah.
So
it's a fun party, right?
Is it running over the weekend, or was it just like during the weekdays?
It's for the weekend. It's going to be on Saturday and Sunday as well.
Oh, okay. Are those like the quote unquote big days, or like has it been big the whole time?
It's been pretty big, but I think Memphis it gets pretty big on Saturday.
Yeah. Saturday and Sunday will be the peak points, I guess.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, Saturday is usually the busiest day for conventions. That makes sense.
Like the business area will close tomorrow, but then the more and more visitors will come in.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's kind of like an E3 mixed with PRGE if they combine together. So
cool.
Think of it that way.
Yeah.
The ugly baby.
Nice.
Yeah, because
have you had many people drop by the SHIRO booth?
We had a couple people. John Linneman dropped by.
Mm-hmm. I just meant in general. Like, have you had a lot of interest from the public?
Yeah, a lot of people. It's actually been really loaded. Like, there's been so much traffic over by there. It's actually insane. Nice. Like, we couldn't even get a station down to put up Netlink. It was kind of insane.
Mm. Can you?
Well, that's good.
Can you speak in German for us, Pat? Can you?
You can
flex that German.
You can hear him at Mums und Ramon, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And wir hier für eine Party. Es ist so Spaß. Und mein Deutsch ist so schlecht.
So. Dein Deutsch ist sehr gut.
Yeah. But no, it's a lot of fun. We're having a good time. But I'll probably let you guys go because it's kind of loud here, and I'll let you finish the show.
Okay.
But I want to stop in and say hi and be on the show and not miss a day. So
yeah, no worries.
We're glad to hear from you.
We're glad to hear from you always.
Stay safe. Have
fun. Be safe. We'll see you when you get back. I'm gonna have a lot of stuff that he has to do anyway for PRG when he gets back. All right, see you guys. Yeah, no, that's awesome. So SHIRO repping in Germany, and we got Memphis, regular contributor to SHIRO, and also on the in the show comments almost every other week. So it's great to hear his voice, and that's awesome.
Yeah, well, that was fun that they called in there randomly. It was kind of a surprise, but sounds like they're having fun.
We should. I was toying with that idea. It would be interesting to do like kind of like the 90s radio shows with the call-ins, like it would be fun if we did that, but we'd have to find out a way to kind of like control it so it didn't get out of hand.
Yeah, like a screener or something, call screener.
Something like that, but yeah, that would be interesting. It'd be another way to boost engagement. But yeah, so
I don't remember what we were talking about before you called in.
Talking about like what we've been up to. I posted a video. I posted a racing video that went live on Sunday or Monday. It's done about 2K over the week, and it had pretty good response. I mean, that's not great in terms of views, but the actual comments and the response from folks has been really positive. Lots of folks saying that they really enjoyed the video and that they like the format and they want to see more of it. So I don't know, like whenever I kind of shot that footage and wrote that. Well, I didn't write a script, but I kind of did that like before I got sick and before I got really super busy. So maybe after PRGE, I'll consider trying to do more stuff like that. I
liked it. I liked the video. I thought it was a success. I thought it was fun to watch.
Okay,
and,
cool.
My only critique was that you had Daytona USA and not Championship Circuit Edition as your, on your top 10. I won't spoil what placement it got.
I can live
People
with
can
that.
watch the video. I know you can. I just have to break your balls about it. I love my Championship Circuit.
I think it's adorable how much you love that game. And defend that
well,
game.
I mean, it technically was my first Saturn game, so it's my I have nostalgia for it.
You're not wrong. You are right about that. Sons of Angels. The rock soundtrack on that is a lot of fun.
It's Jun Senway. Like everybody loves the Sonic Adventure soundtrack, and just that sound that like Sonic games got starting with Sonic Adventure, and it's like the same guy responsible for that did a couple of songs in Championship Circuit Edition. So and you can really hear it, like it is butt rock to the max, and I love it. It's so
Sega Steve says he grew up playing CCE, and that's the one he prefers. So I mean, you definitely have like a legion of support of people that agree with CCE. I think, and that's the thing. There's like two camps. There's like the staunch supporters of CCE, and then there's the folks who are just like all about the original one. I have to admit though, I don't dislike CCE. I just don't hold it in the same regard as the original Daytona. And recently I kind of, I got into wanting to play it more, and I just found that it was giving me like motion sickness. So I'm going to have to try that again. I'm going to have to see if it was just the Netlink version that was giving me motion sickness, or if it was the
when I played the Netlink edition, that was rough. It is
maybe
slower.
That's what it was. Maybe that's
play it
like
offline.
Dropped the frame. Yeah, and it's funny because like the original Daytona is renowned for having a low frame rate. So so I don't know that frame rate is as much the issue as like maybe a variable frame rate or something like that. But
it's maybe with the Netlink version when you're playing online, it's like it does change the rate. It's not just like a constant rate or something. Maybe something about the frame timing is weird. We need John Linneman to check into it.
It's strange though. The older I get, and the more I find that some of these old games, these retro video games, like are hard to go back to in terms of like motion sickness for me. Whether it be either they have like a rubber banding camera issue, or they have like really low choppy frame rate, or the field of view is so narrow. Did my camera pause? Oh, that was weird. Anyway, so
you look fine.
The field of view is so narrow sometimes, and I'm just like, what is it about? Like I used to play this game all the time, and now I can't deal with like, I don't know, 15 minutes of it before getting a little motion sickness. Like Alien Trilogy is one of those ones. I love that game, but can't do more than a couple levels before I just start feeling uneasy. So it's like I gotta take some Dramamine or something. But anyway, that video was a lot of fun to just do on the fly, and I think that's what if I do some more, I'll just continue to do that kind of unscripted. These are my thoughts in the moment. It may not be as polished and produced as kind of like a voiceover, which is what you typically get with like Sega Lord X or the Sega guys, you know. But I think that a lot of people said, yeah, they like that. They like it to just be kind of unscripted and rough because, which I was surprised that folks liked that. But they were like, yeah, it's just that way. It's a little bit more off the cuff, you know. So that's what
feels more genuine, I guess.
Maybe. Oh, I just well, I'll talk about it later because I wrote an article about it and I can talk about it later. But I'll bring up the browser and we can actually talk about news. Unless you had another update. You have any other updates?
No, I don't think so. I have no pickups this week, although I will next week, and it is waifu figures. I'll just tease that.
Book off, or do you have a hard off?
We unfortunately do not have any book offs here in Northeast that I know of.
Oh, was it Pat? It's Pat that they got a book off. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
I thought that was you.
I ordered it.
Okay.
No, I ordered a couple of figures off of Crunchyroll's website a while ago, and they go together. They're like a set.
Nice. Okay.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I'm sure you'll show it off here. Just put it right up in front of the camera.
Do.
Put it right up in front of the camera.
I always do. This is probably blurry in front of the camera. I'm so sorry.
No, it's good. No, it's good. No, I'm saying some people are going to want to see close up.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm sure they will. I will give the people what they want.
You'll give the people the fan service?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so
how do you know there's going to be fan service? I mean, I said it was waifu figures, but they might be,
True.
Just the most tame figures possible. They're not, but they could be.
They're not.
Schrodinger's waifu figure.
Well, see, that's the thing, Dan. If I learned anything about you, they're not going to be. So anyway, starting with one of Peter's best of Saturns.
That was the first thing we had this week.
Edo City Renaissance. Have you ever heard of this game?
No, this is the first time I've ever heard of this. Sounds kind of cool. I mean, he described it as like Sim City, but like ancient Japan.
I have never heard of this. Neat. I've never heard of this game, at least not under
and presumably,
that title.
presumably this game doesn't use up all of the save space inside your Saturn like Sim City does. So it's probably an improvement.
I wonder if I've seen this title in Japanese before and just didn't know what to make of it, because
maybe.
I think I would remember Edo City Renaissance, but no, I've never heard of this before. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think he translated it from like the actual as a different name. Edo, of course, is in the name, but I had to like kind of look it up on Sega Retro and figure out what the heck he was talking about.
Hokusho, 1995 by Hokusho Company Limited, and then Victor Interactive was a publisher. So, in 97. So interesting.
Yeah.
95 to 97. Could that be like this was like ported or something?
I think it may have been.
Looking at the graphics, I like it, and I like the little cutesy characters instead of like the overly realistic. Ever wish that SimCity 2000 was SimCity 1600? Step into Edo City Renaissance, a town management sim set during the Edo period in Japan. Speak with important townspeople, appoint leaders, build schools, and of course, track every detail of your civilization as time passes. Conceptually in the vein of SimCity games, though with more of an anime style and a bit less overall administration. Great game for the detail-oriented Japanese-speaking Saturn gamer. Oh, and it does have like anime, kind of like funny cartoon anime characters in it too. No, that's awesome. Huh. I found out about another.
It's an interesting. Okay, so the name that this is under on Sega Retro, is Edo Renaissance, like like letters O Edo Renaissance.
Interesting.
And now, despite the title screen, this so I'm looking at Sega Retro's page here. They say the publisher is actually Packinsoft, and the developer is Bits Laboratory.
Okay.
But it is licensed by Hokusho and Victor Interactive Software, which you see on the title screen. So it's interesting that their names are on the title screen. I guess this game supports the 3D control pad. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it was originally on the PC 98. So that's where they ported it from.
Yeah.
It's a PC 98 game.
Yeah.
Neat.
You know, I'll take this opportunity to so actually this is just the kind of game that I would skip over if I was looking for, you know, like first of all, it's all in Japanese. So that's going to be an instant out for me. And then also it is the type of game that I normally would not be interested in.
You're not a big SimCity guy.
Yeah, not a big, like I've tried. I definitely wouldn't recommend it on Saturn. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
But I have had fun with like Theme Park, which is a little bit more like kiddie, you know, kind of watered down version of SimCity, and you know, it's got like theme park rides and stuff like that. So that's one I recommend. But yeah, no, it's not really my genre, and I'm not really into like I mean, I am interested in the Edo period, but yeah, when I see stuff like this that requires like management, even if it was like a football manager or a baseball manager, I'm not so into that stuff. Like I'm more interested in playing baseball than managing the team, but some people are, you know, this is for some people. So all I can say is it might be one to look at, fumbling your way through. At least it's got like up here in the stats, you can kind of see.
I mean, if you're
numerals, but everything else is, you know, Japanese.
It might be some good practice if you're learning Japanese.
Yeah, it could be.
So in chat, Whoezu said that they think it's a shuttle mouse. Captain Hawden said, I bet it's a shuttle mouse in the game. It actually is not, unless it's like an unlisted feature. Because I'm looking on the back of the case, like a scan of the back of the case, and it just mentions the Sega, you know, multi-controller.
Right.
As a peripheral, and then it uses memory cards, of course. So yeah, it does not use the mouse unless that's just a secret thing. You'd think I don't know why all these developers like release these like these, you know, PC games that are, you know, like Command and Conquer or like SimCity or whatever, and it's like they really need a mouse, and they don't actually use the mouse on the Saturn.
95 was very early, so it is possible.
Well, no, this game came out in 97.
Well, it was published in 97, but was it okay? Yeah. So I mean, between 95 and 97, they might have been able to port that support in. But I'm just saying, I don't know why it says 95 unless this game was actually developed in 95 and then just took that long for them to actually publish it.
It came out on the PC 98 in 1995. And then they ported it to the Saturn and released it in December of 97. It was the end of the year.
Yeah. So I mean, it totally makes sense that you would have a mouse. For sure, and why they don't have it here. The answers seem to vary, but it's always usually like laziness, or they couldn't figure it out, or they just didn't bother because they didn't think that enough people would. Yeah, I don't know. Frankly, I'm with you.
Slowcoin.
There's no good reason, right?
Slowcoin says it's on the SNES too.
Oh, is it? So, well, I'm not surprised because it kind of does look like an SNES game. Maybe a little higher resolution, slightly higher resolution with the Saturn. But yeah, so I mean, there's just no end of these kind of games that are out there to find out about. And I'm not surprised that you know, Peter said that now that he's getting into the weeds because he's done all the major stuff. He's kind of getting into the weeds of the Japanese library. We're going to continue to see more of this stuff. So it's fun, you know. Every week I get to learn about a new game I haven't thought about for a while. Under the Microscope, Savaki. Oh, now here's a game we did talk about recently-ish, and it's one of those lesser-known kind of like UFC, you know, mixed martial arts games on the Saturn.
Yeah, I forget. Was this like a? Did we talk about this because it was a best of? It was a best of Saturn.
Yeah, I believe it was. In fact. We could do this real quick.
Look it up.
Yeah, we have this feature on the website, do we not?
We sure do.
So that you could just say Savaki was a.
I think I even tagged
it. Was a
Savaki.
best of Saturn. Yeah, it was a best of Saturn on February 1st, 2024.
Okay.
So yeah,
time flies. That was half a year ago.
Yeah, that was half a year ago. What do you know?
How long?
But there you go. So Under the Microscope, Bo digs into this game. In this edition, Savaki, the mixed martial arts fighting game, has some previously undocumented button codes to unlock extra characters and debug features. In addition, there is a more or less full prototype build of the game hidden behind some demo restrictions. The main button code is hold up plus X and Z at the title screen, then press start. Press B to go back to the title screen, and then hold B while pressing start. That's a little That's
Yeah.
several steps.
So
but...
the reason you do that is because when you're at the main title screen, I was actually trying this out on my own,
Okay.
yesterday. Yeah, I was just like on BizHawk, like real quick, but I did try it. Yeah, when you're on the main title screen, it says like press start.
Mhm.
You do hold up X and Z at the same time, and then you press start while you're doing that. When you press start, then it's now showing you all your options for your main menu. That's why you then have to press B to like go back.
Oh,
And then
wow.
hold B again while pressing start. So yeah, like it is a little awkward, but it
Look at this.
works.
As you're punching and kicking, it's like it shows the hitbox. Like it shows
Well,
like the.
Here's the thing, that is actually in the normal game. Because that's the practice mode. The thing is that when it's when you're not in debug mode, when you go into practice mode, there's like a whole big screen explaining the mechanics of the game and explaining, okay, from this point, if you hold A and press start, you will get to see hitboxes.
Mhm.
If you hold B and press start, blah, 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 blah. When you're in debug mode, that whole screen is missing, and it's just a blank black screen, which we have Bo put in the article here as a little screenshot. A blank black screen that just has very simple white lettering that says, X, Atari, Y, slow, Z, free. So instead of like the big full-on descriptions of what these buttons do, he's just got like this basic thing, probably for the one developer who made this game for himself.
Mhm.
Atari, by the way, or Atari.
Yeah.
Atari, one of the definitions of that Japanese word is hit.
Hit,
So that's
right.
probably because Bo put like, why Atari? And so I looked it up,
Right.
and it's the hitbox feature.
Mhm,
It
mhm.
means so. That's
Yeah.
what that is. So yeah, I mean the debug mode does not actually activate that part, but what the debug mode does do that's different is it unlocks all the characters, and all the characters, like you start out with all the fighting styles with Savaki,
Mhm.
but there are like almost like an alternate costume for each fighting style, and so you just like get all of those unlocked right from the start with the debug mode.
Right.
And also you have this kind of crazy mode where you can look at different animations and tweak them, which I think he has like a little bit in that video too, and we have a couple screenshots of it.
Right.
And that was very interesting. That's not normally accessible in the game. That's when you hold L and press start, and that makes that come up. So yeah, it's kind of a couple of fun little secrets in this game. And yeah, as Bo does mention toward the bottom of this, when you have the Flash Sega Saturn Volume 26 demo disc,
Right.
that has a demo of Savaki, and when you hold when you do that debug mode, it does make that happen. It doesn't like give you everything, but it unlocks all the characters except for the final boss.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, I wasn't familiar enough with the game's practice mode to realize that those hitboxes show up in the actual practice mode, but that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, this is.
Yeah, I didn't know it had that either before I messed around with it yesterday.
But it's great to see Bo digging into even like these more, obscure Japanese games. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So, excellent. So
yeah, and I mean, Savaki is kind of like a neat, notable game. It looks really good on the Saturn. It runs really well, and it was developed by one person. Like one other guy did the music for it.
Right?
That was it.
That's crazy.
So yeah, it's cool to get some new little secrets for Savaki.
It kind of feels very much like kind of like the stuff that the folks in the homebrew scene do, and I imagine that same kind of deal. One person making this game. I don't know what kind of deadline they had, but it released in '98, so they could have been working on it for a while.
Yeah, it might have taken a few years, like a homebrew developer.
Exactly, but I mean, based on what we've seen other folks do. Sorry, I'm gonna mute my mic for a second because the kids are putting stuff in the deep freezer. I think a Costco order came. Anyway, yeah, no, that's awesome though. Well, actually, I think Dan, you can hear it through through Discord, but
I can't. Yeah, I can't hear anything.
Okay,
I think you're okay.
No worries. All right, let's see here. What else? Do we want to move on, or is there anything else you wanted to say about Savaki?
Yeah, we can move on. I think that's all we've got for it. Thank you again to Bo for not only looking into this game, but also for writing up something and putting it on our website in addition to his blog, his Substack blog. So yeah, by all means, check him out and follow him on Twitter. He's at Memory Fallen.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
Memory_Fallen. Because he's tweeting about this stuff and about other things he's looking into, and tweeting about interesting facts about Burning Rangers, his favorite Saturn game. So yeah, he's a fun follow.
We already talked. I already kind of talked about the video that I posted on racing games, but one little nugget that I wanted to share with folks. So there are time codes
categorized.
Yeah, I categorize for folks, like if you really just want to hear my take on like one game or another. Didn't really know what else to write there. It wasn't really an article. But what I did discover is
yes, editorial.
Someone in the comments, they asked me a question about a game called Wangan Trial Love. And and it turned out that it wasn't even the game that they were actually thinking of. They were talking. So we got one of the games we got in the US was called Highway 2000. And Correct. It was a port of, it's kind of like a stripped port of Wangan Dead Heat over in Japan. And Wangan Dead Heat Real Arrange was like the MPEG version of Wangan Dead Heat, which allowed you to watch the videos. There's like, between races, you have to like win over these girls, right, and have them get in the car. You have to do
the Japanese version.
Yeah, and you get to pick like from 3 different girls to impress, right? And Wangan Dead Heat Real Arrange is the one that he was talking about. But in his confusion, he actually asked me about a game called Wangan Trial Love, which was not one that I was familiar with, and it's one that I ended up kind of seeking out. I was like, okay, what is this game that he's talking about? And it was like, oh, sorry, I meant Wangan Real Arrange. But I was like, wait a second, though. I've never heard of this Wangan Trial Love. And it turns out that there is another racing game that
called Wangan Trial Love. Yeah,
it's not a Genki though. Genki did Dead Heat and Dead Heat Real Arrange, JVC worked in conjunction with them with Pack-In Video for like the publishing.
Pack-In Soft, yeah. But
Trial Love was JVC basically developed, and then Pack-In Soft reverse that. Pack-In Soft did the development, and then I think JVC or Victor did the publishing. It's that or vice versa, but Genki had nothing to do with it. Interestingly enough, it's actually pretty good.
It's got a very cute waifu on the front cover of Wangan Trial Love.
It's got a cute waifu on the front cover, but when you get into the game, so it's got your scenario, right, which is the dating stuff and a lot of really Japanese heavy stuff that goes way over my head. I see
this is a yellow label rated game, by the way.
It's a yellow label rated game.
A little
under scenario though, then there's just race, right? And you get into race, and now you've got like a very, very full featured, like really, really in-depth racing game. Okay. And right off the bat, it strikes me as something that a lot of folks will try and then turn off almost immediately, because it tries to do something really weird. By default, it like just when you try to play the game by default, the setting is that you are actually using like one button to hold down the clutch, and then another button to press the gas, and then your
super simmy.
And then your D-pad does not steer the car. Your D-pad actually is like your hand moving the clutch around and moving the stick around. So you're like having to put down the clutch and the gas, and then move it into first, move it into second, while you're using the shoulder triggers to steer the vehicle. And it's so let me tell you, it's so jank. I spent a while just trying to figure out if there was any other way to play the game, and it turns out there is. So you go into the you go into race, and you can tune your vehicle, and you can tune so many aspects of your vehicle. It's crazy. It honestly gives what is it, the Tokyo Xtreme, the Tokyo Highway Battle game, a run for its money in terms of how many things you can optimize it and tune about your vehicle. But you can go down into transmission, and they've literally got like 6 different types of transmission. They've got like slap shifters. They've got sequential automatic. where you can go like up and down with the left and right trigger. But they've got like if you basically just put it in automatic or sequential automatic, then you're able to use your right and left trigger as shifters, and you're able to not have to deal with any of that like
makes a little more sense.
Clutch nonsense. Oh my god, it immediately makes more sense, and the game's like controllable and it's playable, and the graphics engine is different. It's very unique and different from any other racing game I've seen. You got like oceanside track, you've got a canyon, you got a forest, and then you've got several different Japanese wangen like highway with
so how many different tracks are there?
God, like 8 tracks, something crazy.
Wow.
Like 8 tracks.
That's pretty good for a Saturn racer.
You've got time trial, you've got racing against other opponents. You've got literally every type of car that you could want: GTR, RX-7, Acura NSX. You know,
this is a 1998 release, April 1998.
Right? Yeah,
pretty late.
It's not going to knock anyone's socks off in terms of like, you know, like it's not going to make a top 10 list in terms of how it controls. I'm still trying to come to grips with that because, you know, you can kind of your eyes can get bigger than your stomach, so to speak, and you can put on like almost every mod on the car, and then your car's like way too powerful, and you can't you can't turn, you know, flying
into walls.
So yeah, it's all about like trying to find that balance between so much power, but like being able to control it. But I mean, you can slam the car, you can add harder suspension, you can add a cold air intake, different muffler, like all this stuff. And if you mess around with it, you can really I actually did come in first in several of the races, and I was like, okay, I kind of starting to get this. So I think folks should definitely check this game out because it has not been on my radar at all. And I mean, I love racing games, right? So I knew about Wangen Dead Heat, and I knew about, you know, Highway 2000. But this is Highway 2000 doesn't make my top 10 or even my honorable mentions, because even though it has a cool aesthetic and the music is nice, it's very repetitive and boring after a while. But this has a lot of variation. So sorry that I went on a tangent there, but I just wanted to let
this
folks
is interesting.
know it's because of the community and it's because of people in the comments that I actually found out about this game, and now there's a new racing game that you know, that I can get into. But yeah. Wangen Trial Love, I guess kind of a pricey one now to get your hands on physically, but download if you've slept on it, download it like I have, you know, download the ISO and put it on your ODE and give it a shot. Tune your vehicle, and you guys, I think, will have fun with it. But yeah, so
that sounds cool. No, it sounds cool, and I doubt many people, you know, listening or watching at home, really do know anything about Wangen Trial Love. You know, there's probably not too many people have tried it out. I have not tried it out.
Yeah,
I think I've seen it on lists because I've looked up, like, you know, all the racing games on the Saturn. So I just kind of wondered like how many there were. I think there's actually only like a couple dozen racing games. It feels like there's a ton. But it's like, it's sort of like a smallish library, really. It just, there are a lot of like really notable good ones.
There's a lot of notable good ones, and then there's a bunch of like really like obscure stuff, like Virtual Kyoto, which is like the boat racing game, and you go around. Go around an oval track, kind of like a horse race. It's very boring, but I mean, it's there, you know, if you want.
Yeah, it's a thing.
This is not a bad, this is kind of like mid-tier in terms of like how it controls, but I give it extra points for style and for like all of the customization that you can do with the cars, and the fact that it's got like all those different licensed vehicle. Not licensed. It's got all of those different vehicles that are popular with 90s, you know, street racers. Yeah. It's just, you know, it will call them like Type 7 for the RX-7, or, you know, Type SX for the NSX, but
legally distinct name.
Exactly. Yeah. But no, it's a lot of fun, and one that I think more folks should know about and more folks should mess around with. The scenario is obviously very Japanese heavy. Yeah. Almost all Japanese characters. You can use a couple of Romanized characters for your name and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, you're doing stuff like wake up, write in your journal, go to school, and you got these chibi little characters and stuff, and it's
racing persona.
exactly, you know. But yeah, just the second option, race, you got your options, your key settings, and then there's also, it even has kart racing in there. It has a kart racing feature where you can just race karts, and I imagine
this game is wild.
Yeah. So when it comes to to its attempt at kind of simulating what it would be like to be an up and coming racer, that's how a lot of racers get started. I had a friend in high school who did like go-kart racing because he was interested in pursuing it as like as a career, racing. And so you had to start at that level, like with karting, and then you go.
It's the same way in virtual racing on the Saturn.
Exactly.
Start with kart racing.
And so it's very similar. Of course, virtual racing does it better. Virtual racing is, I think, just more solid.
Did you try the kart racing?
I did. Yeah, okay. It's a little janky. Again, though, it gives you immediate access to all of the mods. So the thing is, it's like you're at a buffet and you're just overloading your plate. And I think that's the problem. Is it's like my eyes may have been bigger than my stomach, and I just kind of like put all the mods on the go-kart, and now it's just like this uncontrollable beast. So I think I have to like kind of start taking things off and figure out what where the balance is, So yeah. But
real quick, just to look at chat, I just wanted to say happy birthday to Nor. I think is how you pronounce your name. Happy birthday! Nor just got a Sega Saturn yesterday for their 20th birthday.
Oh, that's awesome!
Happy birthday! Yeah, that's a good gift. Glad you have a Saturn now. You'll have to let us know.
Virtua Fighter 2 is a good start. Yeah, Virtua Fighter 2.
Yeah, Virtua Fighter 2. And then Alex13 Mod, hello, welcome here. And Bo said, wow, I haven't even heard of this one, meaning Wangan Trial Love. And I thought I'd started looking at everything but the Mahjong games. They told you gotta find us all the Wangan Trial Love secrets now.
Well, that's the weird thing.
There's gotta be something.
It's one I'm probably overlooked too because of the cute girl on the cover. And the fact that you look at the back screenshots and it mostly sells the scenario. It's mostly selling the like. It goes so hard with there's an entire game.
Oh, you're right.
There's an entire racing game in there that without the scenario, without the dating and everything like that, you'd still have like a fully featured racing game. And it's just kind of like hidden as like the second option. You're like, oh, if you don't want to do any of that stuff and you're American and you don't understand an ounce of English, just play the racing portion because you can do all of that. And I think I had to use Google Translate on my phone a couple times for some of the mods, some of the tuning settings, just to see. Okay, but I know enough about cars that I'm like, oh, okay, I know what that is. But yeah, no, it's like this fully fledged racing game, and I think that it might even control better than I realize. I just think that I'm kind of using too many mods on my cars, to be honest. But once I figure out the whole grip and the you could put a limited slip on there and just forget about the whole. I think I saw one other review of it, and it was a person who kind of tried it just on the default settings, and they were like, "This game is ridiculous. You're turning the car with the L and R bumpers, right?" And so most people try it and then just put up a really quick YouTube review of, "Oh, well, this game's so weird." But I swear, if you just look at the options and you just spend a little bit of time digging, it becomes infinitely more controllable and a lot of fun. So I'm not going to say.
Moosecheck said,
yeah.
Moosecheck asked, the arcade wheel doesn't work. It looks like it does from the back of the box.
Well, that's how I found out actually that the game could be tamed. Is that I said, well, what happens when I plug in the arcade racer? The arcade racer doesn't have a D-pad, so how are they going to handle their convoluted clutch and shifting thing? Well, it turns out when you plug in the arcade racer, it just defaults to slap shifters, which is basically a sequential automatic transmission, which means you slap right and you go up, and you slap left and you go down, and it's just sequential, right? But they're really trying to push the what did you call it? The simulation aspect of having to actually shift, so it didn't work. It doesn't work. It's very janky. Trying to like your brain just can't. You're so used to using the D-pad to steer a vehicle, and now you have to like retrain your brain to use your left hand to control the stick shift, which you would normally do with your right hand as an American. But I think Japanese people they do usually use their left hand for the stick, so anyway.
Well, that's kind of like Bulk Slash. One of the control schemes has you turning with the shoulder buttons, and you are actually moving your mech with the D-pad. And that mode just messes with my head. It's so hard for me to like wrap my head around turning with the shoulder buttons.
Yes.
So I can only imagine how crazy it was. Okay, so this game wasn't even in your list with your top 10 video.
It wasn't in my brain. I had no idea. What
was in your video? Tell us about your video.
Oh, so okay. I'll just say Road Rash, solid. Lots of fun. If you guys have slept on Road Rash, it made me fall in love with some grunge bands from the 90s I didn't even know about, like Swerve Driver. Swerve Driver is like this amazing like shoegaze band that was like 10 years ahead of their time. They probably remained kind of unknown because when they were competing with grunge acts and they were doing stuff that was like wouldn't even be popular for another 10 years. But Swerve Driver, Mescal Head is the name of their album, and there's a band I found out about through playing Road Rash. Really cool stuff. It's Road Rash. It's a lot of fun. You get to like whip and chain your enemies on bikes and upgrade your motorcycle. And
I love that.
And I love and you know, one thing that EA did that was amazing is they created like an ambiance to the game. If you've ever played Dirt, you know, the Colin McRae like Dirt series, and other games subsequently have done this where you're at an event like Vans Warp Tour or something like that, or you're at like this big like rally meet, and you hear like a band playing kind of muffled in the distance, and you got all this like synesthesia, you got all these like kind of like they do this with
at like a racing festival type of thing.
You're at a racing festival, and
the Forza Horizon games do that.
Yeah, the Forza,
actually, 4 and 5.
So this has become like common practice, but back in the 90s when Road Rash did it. It had never been done before. You're standing outside the Der Panzer Club, and you can hear the band playing, but it's muffled because you're outside. And then you go inside, and the music gets loud, and you're chatting with people at the bar, and then you go to the bathroom to, you know, because you've had too many beers or whatever, and you're having to like do all of your management stuff, like save management and loading and option stuff in the bathroom. But I mean, they really played up that kind of like aesthetic and the whole ambiance. So I give it extra points for that.
That's
but
cool.
they didn't do that with what is it? Road and Track presents the Need for Speed. With that, it was just a little more straightforward and just kind of like racing. But then again, that game came earlier. It was like on the 3DO, right? So
it was.
I think they were just getting better. They were just figuring out who they were as a company, what kind of games they wanted to make. And with Road Rash, they really like knocked it out of the park. Choro-Q Park is a misunderstood game on the Saturn. Lots of people don't get it. And I know this for a fact, like Kay, A Murder of Crows, when we originally reviewed this game back in 2017 or so, we all had to play the game, you know, fire it up and play it so we could talk about it for the podcast. And everyone's experience is basically you try to do the driver's license for these games and your car goes so slow and you're just like, is this game supposed to be fun? Like and because of the Japanese language barrier, people don't understand that they're working with pullback spring cars, and that the spring runs out and then the car goes slow. So basically there's change pads in the game. When you go across the change pads, you switch up to a different car in your collection. And it's like Pokemon. You're supposed to collect like 100 different little penny racers, and you're supposed to have tons of little different penny racers in your arsenal, and you can put them at different change pads, and that's how you play the game. And as you're driving on these Mario Kart kind of inspired tracks where you can lob tires at people and put down oil slicks, you have little coins that you pick up. And in Mario Kart, the coins mean nothing. Or maybe they do now, but I mean, they didn't back on the Super Nintendo. The coins were just, you know, whatever for score. But here, the coins are what you pick up in order to buy new penny racers. So
hey, Dave, real quick, wanted to thank Wiener Bob for the $1.99.
Oh, yeah.
Wiener Bob said, the current console generation, budget or buttery? I can't call it budget because it is so bloody expensive to buy, a console or $70 new games or whatever. And,
I say budget. You know, I say budget. It's not budget in terms of being cheap, but it's budget that increasingly you go into the store and all I see are little credit cards that cost $60, you know, basically.
Yeah. And it's like exclusives are just totally going away. Like Xbox doesn't have exclusives anymore now. They're all coming to the PS5 or they're on PC or whatever.
Yeah.
Sony hardly makes games that are exclusive at all. So it's like kind of.
I actually did get pickups. Budget. I actually had game pickups. I got Bomber Rush Cyberpunk. On the Switch. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And that was physical. I got that from Best Buy it was on sale. And then we got another one. We got Slime Rancher for Jesse because he really wanted that one physical. And I haven't played it, but it looks fun. It looks like fun.
Is it a PS4 game or Switch?
It's honestly like a tablet game. It's like a game that did really well on mobile platforms, and then it got ported as a physical to Switch. And then honestly, it looks like kind of like Metroid Prime for kids, or just I don't know even what that means. Metroid Prime is for kids, but it's like more watered down. You're just like ranching slimes, Dragon Quest slimes, but you're just there's all these different slimes, and you kind of like sucking them up with this gun that looks kind of like Metroid's, like Samus's arm gun, and so you can suck them up and then you can shoot them out. Anyway. But yeah, I forgot to. That's talk
good.
About that.
You let us know about your game pickups.
I let you know.
Well, you got a couple.
I don't need to go through all of these. All I can say is Manx TT Superbike is amazing. Low on content, but really good port. And I think that Tantalus might have been given a hard time back then. Maybe just expectation versus reality. But I think they did a really good job with Manx TT. So Initial D is amazing. Try it. Folks need to just they need to like approach it differently than an arcade drifter. They need to say, okay, I'm gonna just spend time learning the drift, and really like you approach a corner full speed, and then you just let off the gas and tap the brake to initiate that kind of like weight shift forward, and then your car will just slip out, and then you just put back on the gas and kind of just slide through the turn. It's like butter. Like the Initial D is by Genki, and they knew what they were doing. They didn't make a crappy racing game. They just made a different racing game than like Drift King 97, which is completely different. Drift King 97 is just like you push a button to drift. You know, it's like you're turning and you press the drift button, or like, and your car drifts. You know, but it's
which is why I can kind of accomplish drifts in that game. Right, it's nice and simple.
VR Virtual Racing, I think that's that's Random Stuff's favorite racing game, so I'll shout him here. Yeah, and it's a great game. Not people slam it because it was, of course, as we know, not a port. It was like an eyeball of the original. But you know what? It's got so much content that it makes up for it. It's got so much content. Sega Ages Outrun play. So for folks, and I didn't know this until this year, Pat gave me his copy of Outrun because I was looking at getting it at Game On Expo, but it was like $90. And I found out that the Japanese version is the only one that runs at 60 frames per second. And boy, does it really? Yeah, like the PAL version and the one that we got, the Sega Ages or whatever. Yeah, like it makes such a difference. It's amazing. So play the Japanese version, guys. Like delete the other versions from your ODE. Play the Japanese version. You will thank me. Sega Touring Car Championship, so much better than anybody realizes. Spent about a week with it, and the 3D control pad. And I think you'll have like a new. It'll end up. I
got sucked into it, and I'm not like a huge racing guy, but man, I got sucked into Touring Car Championship.
And you weren't even using the 3D control pad, right? You weren't even using
No, I did. I used the 3D control pad for that one.
Okay, you did. Yeah. Good on you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how people like what is it, VBT playing that game with the digital pad? I don't know, man. How do you even do that? But yeah,
no, it was the challenge we just had, Toge and Toge 2, because that doesn't really work with the 3D control pad.
2. Oh yeah, right. No, you're right.
Yeah. And I don't own a racing wheel, and I tried my mission stick, and like it felt weird, so I just used the D-pad the whole time.
You can. I mean, I used the D-pad at first, and I was like, okay, you can get. I was able to beat, quote unquote. I was able to like beat the computer people. Yeah. But that was about as far as I could go. There's no way I could like challenge the other people in the community without switching over to the wheel. Yeah.
In chat, Puppetsu asked, did Dave forget about Andretti Racing, or did he just didn't like it or thinks it's bad?
It doesn't register in my top 10.
It doesn't make your top 10.
It doesn't make my... I was like, okay, I'm going to do top 10, and I'm going to have like 5 honorable mentions. If I go any more than that, then it's like a top 20. Yeah.
Then you're just listing every Saturn racing game.
I'm aware of Andretti Racing, but I mean, if I have a choice, I'm going to play VR Virtual Racing or F1 Challenge over that. You know, like it's just.
I own a real copy of Andretti Racing. It's cool. It's cool. Yeah, it probably is not a top 10 racing game on Saturn, but it's not bad.
I also have a real copy of it, but I don't think it gets opened that much. Sega Rally Championship, of course, most people that would be their number one. For me, it's just a matter of.
Well, you're not British, so.
And I'm just. I mean, I love it. I don't get me wrong.
If you were British, it would be number one.
Well, I think it's objectively the better game. I do.
Yeah.
And I mean, I absolutely love the Delta, Lancia Delta, and I love Sega Rally. But like I say, Daytona USA, that and Nights are the reason I have a Saturn in the first place. So I had to give the nod to Daytona USA. And then, of course, Street Racer. Street Racer is really good, and actually, I found out recently that from John Linneman that it's the best on Saturn.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Best version?
Yeah,
That's cool.
He's kind of doing a video, and this isn't a secret. He's mentioned it publicly that he's doing a video about what is it? Saturn versus PlayStation racing games.
He's doing a series of videos, comparing games that were on both the Saturn and the PlayStation. And the first video that he is doing is tackling the racing games between the two. So that's like super exciting because he does such a great job of like really getting in the nitty gritty of comparing frame rates and frame times and pop in and how the graphics look and all that.
Yeah,
so
because I know everybody loves, and I'll be the first to admit I love those side by side videos. I get sucked into them sometimes. You know the I don't even know. There's a few
VG
YouTube
Compare.
VG Compare. Yeah, you got two screens. You're comparing them side by side.
Yeah, I like those too.
But people don't really know what they're looking at. You get the random comments, and you're just like, well, I think the Saturn looks better. Well, I think the PlayStation looks better. And of course, you've got some bias there as well. But for the most part, people are saying, oh, well, this one just looks better, or this one sounds better. But I mean, John's going to go deep into like why it looks better, and then quantify that. And that's what I like. It's not just like an objective comparison of two things that are an apple and an orange, because as we know, some of those games were targeted towards PlayStation, so they suffered when being ported. Sometimes really slapshod onto the Saturn, or vice versa. When they were targeted towards Saturn's specific hardware and VDP2, then you try to put that on the PlayStation, and you have to use geometry to do what VDP2 does without even trying. And that's the thing. Street Racer uses VDP2 very extensively, and I think PlayStation has to kind of do all that in geometry. So Toge 2 The Spirits, shouts to Double Dime for getting good at that game. I haven't had the time, but I definitely want to. He said it was great. He said that it made him a believer once he like figured out the grip and everything and just got deep into it.
These are honorable mentions, right?
These are the honorable mentions. High Velocity. I didn't put High Velocity on my top 10, but I feel like I should have, because it really is that good. And Nick Panda says that it's one of his favorite, and really with the wheel, I'll give it super, a good amount of kudos for making the wheel worth owning. So like if you bought a racing wheel and you kind of felt like it was a waste, just play High Velocity with it, and you'll be like, yeah, no, best 60 or 70 bucks that I've ever spent.
The kart game, right? Formula Karts, and now apparently Wangan Trilove. Those are three good racing.
No,
games.
I didn't say Wangan Trilove is good with it. It just
no,
it
does,
I just said
that it better.
It immediately makes it more controllable because
well, that sounds like a reason to have the wheel.
But the thing is, I went back to the D-pad. And just manually selected automatic transmission in the and then the D-pad is just as good, or you could probably use the 3D control pad. So yeah, no, the games to play with the wheel are Formula Karts, Virtual Racing is actually quite good, High Velocity, and then GP, Hang On GP, which is I would argue. Almost unplayable without the wheel. That's another one that Joe swears by. Yeah. F1 Challenge is awesome. It's not at all like the F1 sim kind of game that you might think it is. No, it's like it's another like Sega arcade style racer, except it wasn't by Sega. It wasn't by any of their first party teams. It was not Bell Labs. It was like Bell Interactive or something like that. And Virgin.
It is fun.
Did the publishing. It's fun. Yeah, it's fun in there, and it's neat to try to balance like your tires, the wear on your tires and your airfoil and the amount of gas. You can take more gas, but then your car's heavier, or you can take less gas and then have to pit. So it's just kind of weighing those options. But the music is great. Yeah, it's great. And then Wipeout. I should have put Wipeout 2097. I forgot about that when I was making this list. So yeah, if you're gonna play a Wipeout game, probably play Wipeout XL or 2097 because neither of them are best on Saturn, but the second one is better on Saturn.
They did a better job.
And I would argue you get to use the Saturn D-pad, which feels better than the PlayStation D-pad, my opinion. But and then
a lot of people here's opinion
would have
too.
that. The only little nugget about Road and Track presents the need for speed is that if you really like GTRs, Skylines, play the Japanese version because they completely localize this game as GTR Overdrive and you basically it's just this game, but like they stripped out all the other cars and just put in Skylines. So different generations of Nissan Skyline. Yeah. So there's that. And then sticking with the whole racing theme is this this most recent news before we do our outro is you just put this up today, but this was news about
broke yesterday.
Genki, yeah. So go hit it.
We have Genki news. So Genki announced just yesterday on Thursday that a new entry in its long-running Tokyo Xtreme Racer series is coming. Next year, apparently. It has a nebulous release year of 2025. But yeah, it's just simply called Tokyo Xtreme Racer. And this is the first entry in this franchise in nearly 20 years, if you can believe it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So yeah, they announced this. They had an announcement on X, formerly known as Twitter, where they said your rivals await to drag you back into the ultimate challenge. Thrilling races that unfold on the Tokyo Expressway or return to the Tokyo Xtreme Racer roots. And they accompany that with a short teaser trailer. I don't know if you want to play that, Dave.
I did.
You did.
Yeah,
okay.
I could play it again, like with audio.
Trailer.
Do you want me to do the audio? Here we go.
Sure.
Okay. I don't know if there is audio. Oh, there we go.
I think there is.
I know my brother-in-law is going to be excited about this one because he's the one who originally got me into this series on the Dreamcast, no less. And I have to say, I love the original 1 and 2 on the Dreamcast. Such good games. They've only announced this for the PC right now for Steam, and there's a Steam page up. They haven't mentioned any consoles or anything, which is like surprising because Genki is a Japanese company, and PC is usually not the first platform that Japanese companies target, unless they're making like an eroge visual novel or something like that. But the Steam page says that players will be able to drive real cars on meticulously recreated courses, compete against powerful rivals, slip through other cars, and engage in spirit-racking battles. Sounds very extreme. Now, as we saw in the footage, and as we see in some of the screenshots that I reposted from the Steam page in my story, it's just tracks right now. They have no cars. This is probably very early in development. I wouldn't be surprised if this slipped to 2026. But it's still really cool that they are making a new game. Like the last time that a game came out in the series was 2005 on the PS2 in Japan. It came out in 2006. In PAL territories in 2007 in North America. But there was technically one mainline entry in this series on the Saturn. It was the well-known Drift King 97, which we got a fan translation courtesy of Malenko a couple of years ago. And there also, fun fact, you were talking about Wangan Dead Heat and Wangan Dead Heat Real Range earlier in the show, Dave, and those count as spin-offs of this series. The series did start on the Super Nintendo back in 1994, all platforms. But it became known as, it was originally called like a Shutoko battle. Shutoko battle. So Shutoko battle. Shutoko battle is very the one that we got on the Saturn is obviously like it's the obvious precursor of the Tokyo Xtreme Racing series.
It became known as Tokyo Xtreme Racer on the Dreamcast.
And on the PlayStation, it was Tokyo Highway Battle. But because Shutoko battle just means like urban highway, and you just assume that it's Tokyo is what they're talking about. But I mean the thing is Wangan Dead Heat, it's Genki, right? But it really doesn't bear any kind of resemblance very much at all to Shutoko battle. So I mean, I guess there is like the family resemblance, I guess, or the fact that it's but
they're all
then,
developed
course,
by Genki.
Wangan Trial Love, it is worth repeating that Genki had nothing to do with that game. It kind of like I don't even know if it's related to Wangan Dead Heat. It just has the word Wangan in it, which is Wangan is a famous highway, right? And I think so, right?
I'm not sure.
It's like a famous highway in Japan or in Tokyo, but and yeah, Wangan Dead Heat Real Arrange is the one that has MPEG. Is the Real Arrange version, but
Wangan is also known as the Bayshore Route.
The Bayshore Route, yeah.
It looks like, yeah. So
anyway,
you were right.
Anyway, so Highway 2000. What was it? Moose Tracks was asking if Highway 2000 is the same series. I wouldn't personally consider it. I wouldn't personally consider them the same series. I mean, you had Wangan. You had the like the anime series, Wangan Midnight, which was about this dude who would roam the Wangan at midnight, racing a Datsun Z against like a Porsche, like a Blackbird Porsche, and that was really popular in Japan and somewhat in the US. It came over a little bit, but yeah. So I mean, I guess there's a relation there, but I wouldn't really consider them part of the same series. Is that what Wikipedia is saying?
I forget if I think it was Sega Retro that said, well, Wangan, which was localized as Highway 2000 in the West, is like a spin-off series.
Okay. Oh, a spin. I guess I would say it's a spin-off. I would consider it a spin-off. It's not the same mainline. Drifting 97, I would consider like episode 0. That's the main series. Yeah. So
episode 0 would be the Super Nintendo entry. Like the second game in the series, I believe, was
you're right.
97.
It started on. That's right. It started on the SNES. That's right. And it
was like Drifting 94.
Mode 7. It was like Mode 7 graphics too. I have played that one before. I you're right. I've just forgotten.
Oh, you've played it?
I have a little bit. On an emulator. But yeah. So you're right. It's like a Mode 7 kind of thing. Really nascent, but they kind of were already onto that idea like all the way back then. And then it just really came to be like fully fleshed out on the Dreamcast. I feel like by that time you really had the whole like where you were just like wandering the freeways looking for your next opponent, and then just flashing the lights and initiating a battle right there on the spot. That's what made it so you had this like cat and mouse kind of thing going on. Whereas you didn't have that with the Saturn version. It was like the Saturn version, you kind of were doing all that.
Just get into a
menus.
race.
Yeah, you were using the menus to kind of find your opponent and then getting into a race. But yeah. But that's awesome. I mean, maybe it's because they've been away so long that now things have changed and they might just be working on Steam at first and seeing if they can, because that will be the cheapest barrier. That would be the lowest barrier to entry, back into the market. And if it does well, then it can be ported to devices.
And I mean, the Steam page does list Genki as the developer and the publisher. So it's not like it's a Genki and name only type of shell corporation thing. Like,
if they're
I gotta imagine they've hired up to do this.
Well, I mean, the thing is, if they're releasing on Steam, they can publish it by themselves because they're doing a digital publishing, right? But if they do actually need to like print and publish like physical or something like that, then it's probably going to be, they're going to have to reach out to some other party to do that. But
probably
for digital publishing, that's pretty easy to do. You just have to apply for put in the application. But I'm excited. I'm definitely going to check it out when it comes out because it's one of my favorite series, and it's amazing that it's been this long, since we've had.
Yeah, I know. I'm like wondering like what they've been up to, and I'm looking on Wikipedia. I guess they developed in 2009. Genki developed Spectrobe's Origins.
Okay.
Which was on the Wii.
Yeah.
So I remember seeing this.
It was shovelware.
Yeah, it looked like shovelware.
Yeah, it was.
It was published by Disney Interactive Studios.
That was 2009. Wow, it's been a
Yeah.
while, man.
Yeah,
They've
2010 Genki. Sorry, what?
as you said, they've been dormant. They've been so
Yeah.
dormant, but I mean, they really are at heart. They are a racing. They do racing games. They did Initial D. They did all these other. So I mean, if they come back making racing games, I just hope that it resembles
It's
because
good.
who knows if it's
Yeah.
the same team that they had back in like the 90s. So that's the other thing.
So it looks like the Shutoko Battle series was revived. I just found this out now. Was revived with a Mobage version for mobile phones, released January 2017. So I guess that would just be like Japanese cell phones. This was the first Shutoko Battle game after the Genki Racing project was discontinued. I'm not entirely sure what's up with that. But then later that year they discontinued the service for that game and they shut it down in November. So it must not have been very successful, unfortunately. And it looks like they had not done anything in 7 years since then. I don't know what the hell they've been doing or how they were able to stay afloat. It may have just been one guy holding on to the rights to the name for a little while. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I wish him well.
Definitely.
I mean, they've got a big legacy of their own making to live up to.
Yeah, I hope that it does. I mean, I that's the thing is a lot of people are going to have expectations, and honestly, that like the play as it went on, like on the PS2, kind of like I'm not as big of a fan of. I like 0, but 3 was not as quality in my opinion, but others might disagree. So it's like I just hope that they get back to that quality, like. Just even if they remade the title insinuates that it's the first game, and seriously, if they literally just remade the first game on the Dreamcast, but like with modern graphics, I'd be happy. They really don't have to reinvent the wheel there. Just make it just put me right into the mid 90s with in a Japanese, a consumer, souped up Japanese car and let me race against other people driving, I don't know, like Subaru wagons and NSX, Honda Civic, that kind of stuff. I mean, that's all I'd want. But yeah, they really don't have to overthink it because it's been so long. At this point, it's just like it's one of those. It would be a remake, basically, obvious remake.
Yeah, there's kind of restarting from the ground floor, so may as well keep it kind of basic.
They already have a formula that works. Like the game on the Dreamcast was magic. So, I agree with Neil Henderson too. MSR on Dreamcast was fantastic. That's another one we need a re-release of, if Sega would consider it.
All right, well there you have it. That's the news on coming out of Gamescom, I guess, with the new Tokyo Xtreme Racer game. So it's kind of a tenuous Saturn link, but I mean it's fun to report on like new sequels to games that had entries on the Saturn. Especially ones that hadn't gotten an entry in many years, like when we got Soul Hackers 2 out of nowhere. Like that was kind of cool. So.
Totally agree.
Well, shall we thank our patrons?
Let's thank our patrons. Should definitely do that. So where are they? Why can't I? Okay. There we go. Okay. A Murder of Crows, Casual Seth, Cerulean, Chris Piper, Chris 1997 XX, Daniel Fredrickson, David Zaney, Derek Pascarella, A-Team, Emerald Nova, Evo 42, Fat Drunk Friend Otaku, Gem Clash or Rank, Ian Kegg, Jay Hersey, Johannes Fetz, Lion Wing Publishing, Memphis, Normal Guy, Newtrageous, Robert Ramsey, Rowan Dinked, Sega Steve, Stoneman, The Sega Guys, Wafflekins, and Young Money Swee. All of you guys, thank you so much for supporting us at the $10 and up level.
Yep, thank you.
You're helping us go to PRGE. You're helping us do some fun stuff there.
And thank you to everyone who pledges any amount.
Everyone who pledges any amount. You get your name in the credits and in the magazine, and also you get access to the insider chat on our Discord. And if you don't at all, if you can't afford to support us, as I've said, like a broken record, just join the Discord, be a part of the community. You can contribute a lot that isn't money. You know, you can contribute your time, and you can just contribute your knowledge. If you happen to have expertise with the Saturn and stuff like that, there's people who are coming to the console new every day, and you might be able to help them get their Saturn online, help them figure out how to burn games, or how to work ODEs or the Saru or something like that. There's so many different people in our community with different areas of expertise. So I always say
go ahead.
And what?
I was gonna say, and on our Discord, you can participate in our bi-monthly community challenges, which we are going to be announcing on the show next week. What the September challenge will be. So we finally decided on which game it's going to be, and we're nailing down the details of how exactly it's going to go, and getting the sizzle reel together and art assets and stuff. So yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be something different, which I think is good, because we've had a lot of.
It's very different, and I love it. Like we've
had a lot of racing games this year. It's super
creative too. Like the scoring system and everything like that is they really thought about it. It's very creative.
Yeah. So look forward to that, guys.
It is we can say is in the nature and the vein of in the spirit of the community challenges. It's an unsung game. It's a game that doesn't really get a whole lot of recognition a lot of times. There are some people in the community that swear by this game. They know they know what's good, and they know this game is good, but it's one that gets passed over in favor of other games. So I mean, it's really cool that this challenge is gonna kind of force more people to play this game, because I think people are gonna come out loving this game.
I'm looking forward to it, because I haven't played it before.
Oh, good. No, yeah, that's great.
It'll be a new experience for me next month.
I may not have time, honestly. I may only be able to dip my toe in a little bit.
Because you have PRG next month.
Yes, but I will still live vicariously, and I'll be reading the chat and seeing what you guys are discovering about it, because no doubt by the end, folks are going to be beating the game. I guess that's one of the challenges. That's not really a spoiler, but beating the game is one of the challenges, I think. So I think a lot of people are going to go for that and play through the whole game, which I can't even say that I've done that. So it'll be neat to see. Yeah. But yeah. So without further ado, this has been Saturn Dave and Danthrax, reminding you that you must play Sega Saturn.
You must.
And
see everybody.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
SHIRO